They're always close, they're always competitors, and Ruiz was a big reason why. This is one of the scariest mid-lane players in European mobile esports, and he's proven that here on stage, pulling out things like the Ziggs. You can also pay attention to his Twisted Fate, to his Diana, if he can get either of those. And I'd like him to pivot kind of away from the pool he's been playing so far in this tournament, maybe towards the more dual-focused characters he pulled out regionally. You're talking about things like the Ahri. I want to see maybe more of that in Ruiz's performance here, because there's an awful lot of pressure for him to shut down the most talked about player in the tournament, that being Z on the other side of the table.
Quick recap here. It is, starting things up with the mid lane band. Zed and Ziggs going to be joined by Fiora, Camille, Lulu, and Riven. That does leave both Twisted Fate up for Ruiz, which he's going to take, but Febe is going to snatch Renekton up first.
So you do get the Twisted Fate for Ruiz, his most played character at this tournament so far, one of his best characters, very good sign for Team Queso. And weirdly enough, they banned 2 mid lane characters so far against Z. You might be like, I only see the Zed, but actually that Riven goes quite a lot as well.
I mean, honestly, I think he and Faber would be happy to swap it up if they absolutely had to as well. His Riven is pretty nuts. As Senna going to be the other selection there for Team Queso. Also a very high presence, a very powerful champion currently.
The Senna presumably will be put down in that bottom lane. And I would expect it to go to Ibu. It could be flexed either way. You could see a support Senna, but very likely it's in Ibu's hands as a scaling damage threat. Ibu hasn't really been able to deliver on the high mechanics characters at this tournament. He's been, I think, maybe struggling with some stage nerves. Back when he did play on the Team Queso Arena Valor team, he was actually the jungler. But in that game, you can play a lot of high mobility, kind of marksman-style characters in the jungle. And here, that's been taken away from him. He's not been able to deliver. So I like the pick of moving him over to the Senate, putting the Galio in lane with him. Galio is a character that very much fits Memorized pool. He's a really good team-fighting support who loves to get those big engages. So give me a Galio Senate bottom lane. They have the Twisted Fate in mid. They've got a lot of the tools to win mid-game team fights, which Team Queso seem to think is their path to victory.
It's funny, we were talking about this off-air right before we got it going, and I was thinking, you know what, we saw a lot of Kazakhs qualifying into this tournament, TJ. We haven't seen him yet on the Horizon Cup stage, but Andre is saying, you know what, this is the kind of matchup where I'm happy to take Kazakhs.
If you can get these Kazakhs into the backline against the Xayah, against something like this Orianna that gets locked in for Z, you're always going to find that kill. Any point in the game, and even gold Kazakhs. You don't even need the gold advantage a ton of assassins need. You just need dead even gold. Kazakhs can find those kills.
Very curious to see the Ahri once again for Z. He's good on the pick, but this is not the super map dominant picks we've seen him really succeed on so far.
So, teamfight composition in whole for Team Queso. Over on the opposite side for ThunderTalk, it's much more around their scaling potential. That's why you bring out the Xayah and the Orianna. You're looking for those late-game skirmishes, those late-game teamfights, and they will be very scary at that scaling point. But Team Queso have the tools to answer, so that means the game to me is much more on this mid lane, where the Orianna is going to be played by Z. Can he deliver a performance that once again is the extra 20% that ThunderTalk need?
Yeah, Jarvan obviously pretty safe top laner for Acolyte, not going to be potentially taking over the game like he has on Darius and the like so far this tournament. But I mean, up against Renekton, I think this is a lane you're happy to just go even in and chill out, because you definitely trust NTF to come to your lane, you trust in your Kazakhs to come to your lane, and you obviously trust in the 5v5 you've drafted for yourselves as well. So I'm looking at ThunderTalk and I'm saying, yeah, you've got the Xayah Ahri scaling, but I'm looking for Chris to be pretty active in the early game alongside his solo laners.
You want the Lee Sin to be doing that. The first 5 minutes are critical for the Lee Sin. Chris should be getting out of the jungle and into the lanes, threatening as soon as possible, particularly the Twisted Fate in mid, who is more vulnerable in those opening moments to Twisted Fate than at any other point in the game, or to Lee Sin than any other point in the game, because once he gets the gold card reliably online, it's over.
And this is definitely a matchup where we kind of alluded to it earlier, but I think it is worth talking again as we are going to move ourselves into the first game between these two. You know, for all of Z's talents and his dominance, especially in 1v1s as a Baron or top laner, he has not necessarily been that player yet in mid lane, whereas Ruiz absolutely can be that player in the 1v1.
Yeah, we did see one Orianna game from Z so far. That's kind of the most mid lane character he's played. So I think that if that's the marker, frankly, he's not that scary in lane. Now, the good news about Orianna 4Z is that Orion is a really good late game character. Really good once you get out onto the map, once you have late game damage. And we can look forward to that from Z, a player who has consistently delivered once he's able to get out on the map. But if there's an angle for Team Queso here, if there's a chance for Team Queso to shut down ThunderTalk, it comes in that lane phase where we saw Hawk and Rush be able to shut down Z. Yes, he's a star player. Yes, he's terrifying mechanically. But he doesn't look that comfortable as a mid laner. And if the mid-jungle duo can get out on the board and start scaring him in the first couple of minutes, that could shut him down.
All right, well, looks like level 1 is going to have some spice. There's the gold card. Everyone's walking in. A banner for a card. But Chris is actually the one lowest. The Ignite is there, and then it's first blood. Team Queso just take it away. Faye way too late to try and save the day. So yeah, kicking off with an absolute banger, TJ.
Team Queso, don't waste a moment. The experienced team rushes down mid, launches what we call an EU start to a game, and manages to find all of ThunderTalk. Acolyte hunting down that kill in the very back of ThunderTalk, earning themselves a massive lead. Yes, it's big for Acolyte. He gets the gold injection in that top lane that is very important for this match. But also, we were just talking about how the Lee Sin needed to do early damage, and he is going to be starting with a handicap. It looks like about 100 gold.
All right, well, if you do have Amazon Prime after all that, be sure to link your Prime Gaming account before more action happens. And you can link that with your Wildrift account for a free skin capsule, which thank you for reminding me I still need to do this and claim my free skin.
I did that the other day. I was like, oh, to get free
I
skin.
heard it on the broadcast last night. I was like, I should do that, and then I forgot, and here we are. As Ruiz does get the gold cut down onto Chris, who is trying to stay active here, but Z is going to struggle, certainly, with the early game. Going nice and early in the favor of Team Queso.
Well, you know what they say, teaching is the #1 way to remember something. So I think this time round, you'll link the accounts, everything will be sorted.
Well, we'll hope so. Wait till I come back in 3 days from now, and it's like, yep, forgot again. By the end of the tournament, surely I'll have figured it out.
If you keep doing the read. Our early skirmishes went pretty well for Team Queso, most notably in that they got that opening kill, but also then you see that match happen in mid, where Chris goes back, tries to kind of repair the deficit, provide that early value. Here we go.
Red buff here for Chris. Renekton pretty good to set up. Ooh, a little early bats on the dive. Acolyte very nicely dodged.
I apologize, Julie. I was holding on to that because I was like, there's no way they actually go for this.
Oh, no, they go for it.
Acolyte is playing a Jarvan underneath the turret. He just clears out the wave, lives his best line. Interestingly enough, Chris is still here.
We're at it again. There's the stun. Q lands. That could be a kill.
Time.
Barrier down there as well. Faye though, dashing on in, does get the kill. Forced to flash, so it's going to be a trade at the end of the day.
That's disastrous.
Yeah,
they
not what you wanted.
spent so much time up there, Julian. They spent so much time, and Acolyte gets a 1-for-1, which means that ThunderTalk were already behind in that jungle matchup. We're already behind in the amount of influence that Chris was going to be able to have on the map. And then he tries to kind of undo that by dedicating all that time and resources to get a kill onto Acolyte, and it does not work out. Acolyte correctly reading this situation, saying, okay, if I force the fight, if I start with some damage onto Chris, maybe I can turn things my way. And it does mean that Chris doesn't follow underneath the turret. Gets the kill onto Faye.
Yeah, I think Faye thought that he wasn't in range for that auto and wanted to flash or at least make sure he got the kill because he was probably there anyway. But the auto was in the air. It actually did get the kill, so I think he could have flashed out to safety, but unfortunately, just a split second behind there.
Anders now here for the return.
It's a nice little prowl here out of the Kha'Zix. Level 5, ulti at the ready. Ulti here for Ruiz as well. Top side, V1, Dominance pop. Level 6 Renekton, but I'm not sure he can survive in the Jarvan hot tub indeed.
Wow.
He is going to get fried, as that's yet another kill for Team Queso.
But that hot top got hot. Ruiz dies in the middle of it.
Too hot.
Got to turn it down. Ruiz can't take the heat. It's when you stay in the hot tub too long and your muscles kind of relax too much. Ruiz doesn't have the reaction time in the middle of all that to get out of to burn the flash, to get out of the Jarvan Cataclysm, which means that now down a player, Team Queso are struggling to hold on to their map control. ThunderTalk push forward down bottom and take a free plane off here, getting a little bit more gold back, and keeps us roughly even in the mid game.
Yeah, taking a play always nice. Chris here finds the Q, throws it onto Ruiz, but not going to go in for it. You can see the rest of Queso are collapsing to protect this pretty important first dragon. It is an Infernal, which is everyone's favorite Drake to fight over.
Yeah, I would say that Infernal is the most powerful Drake in this game by a pretty wide margin, so ThunderTalk will very likely step up for this. Here we go.
With the smite at the ready. Looks like they're not in range for a steal. Excuse me. It's still okay. Looking to go in. Chris actually kicks him out of the way. He's going to try and take it. And Zaya got it. Azure actually gets the final hits in. And somehow no one on ThunderTalk dies.
Chris just says, thank you very much. I'll take this, Anders. Kicks him out of the pit. Just flat out rejects him. And then auto attacks and cleans it up.
Nice and easy there. Bit of help on Zaya at the end. But it does work out. A nifty little dragon steal as I look up, and ThunderTalk are up 2,000 gold, which is not what I thought I would say when I looked at the kill count.
Yeah, that just spins things right back in their direction. They've been trading pretty evenly, but obviously that whole exchange is a pretty massive boon, not only, of course, in the 2,000 gold they get at the top of the screen, but also you're sitting on an Infernal Drake that's going to be a couple 100 gold worth of damage for the rest of the game, scaling to get greater, of course, because it's a percentage, 6%. So ThunderTalk are really in control of this early game.
Yeah, taking the Drift Tower as well, which kind of adds insult to injury. And the reason the gold is the way it is because Feibai just didn't walk down to that dragon fight. He didn't need to, didn't have TP, can't get anywhere, takes the full tower, and that's like, oh, we just won every side of the map at 5 minutes. And Team Case are in a pretty big hole to kick off this early game, despite their good pressure.
One thing you need to watch out for if you're ThunderTalk, kind of the path back into this 14K, so is through the mid-game item spikes that are available for Team K. So you're looking in particular at second item completion on Ruiz. He's going to be looking for Lichbane, which is going to be a pretty massive swing in terms of damage. So we'll see if they can get anything done kind of around the 10-minute mark is when that's going to come online. But I have to tell you, Pastry, it's not looking good as another turret falls down bottom.
Yeah, and Z getting some pressure, but not even need to use the purple hands buff as Chris holds onto the Herald. Team Queso trying to counter push here in mid, but there's just nothing really for them. Ori's wave clear is pretty good, and the rest of ThunderTalk are already reinforcing. They're going to have to back away there.
And this is where, if you're in team comms, somebody starts saying, it's all right, we got late game. And that is kind of true for Team Queso. They do have Twisted Fate, who's going to be a menace in duels throughout the entire game. They do have, of course, Senna Galio, both of whom perform very well in the late game. And they'll have the tank from the Jarvan. But I don't know that it significantly outscales what Z's Orianna, what Azure's Kaisa are going to do.
Of course, catching up. It's going to be a long road here. Team Queso down 3,000 gold as we are at the 7-minute mark currently. Z harassing Ibu there, pretty effective on the Ori as topside Feibai is looking to take Dominion over this half of the map. In the jungle, Andre caught. Ruiz there going to protect it with a gold card. Does get some damage onto Chris, but that's about it.
And all of Team Queso are suffering from losing those turrets. You see ThunderTalk are the type of team that's always going to press advantage. Good room.
Chris has to plan. Very sneaky way up, and now it's a 2v4 for the rest of the squad. Ruiz trying to chase it down. I think he wants the backup kill indeed. He will take the least in, but now caught out of position. S12K trying to get in there, but can't find it. And the Herald's just hanging out. It dropped in mid before he died. And there we go, Acolyte popping in. Jacuzzi's open once again. Galio ulti down on top. Z flashes out. Azure walks out just in time. Blade Caller roots on the top. Feibai flashes in for the stun and nails it. As ThunderTalk turn it around.
He's slicing, he's dicing. And ThunderTalk managed to bring that fight back under control as it starts with such a disastrous engage for them. They're going to try and take out this turret as well. The wave does get cleared, and I think that should finally force them to reset.
We'll back it up, but again, continuing to compound their advantage ever so slowly. Goal doesn't shift much, but you can feel the pressure kind of building up to rewatch this Axe replay.
And you can see how it starts with the Dream combo. The center root lands, Anders follows in on the ISO target, Ruiz chases it down. Very well played, Ruiz even flashes away. But at this point, ThunderTalk say, well, hang on, we still have 5 members on the Rift. The other one's named Geraldo. He's going to get us in underneath this turret. They follow with the shockwave. And Team Queso, despite a valiant defense, step a little too far forward. Feibai finds the flank, and we're already fighting.
Yep, here we go. Acolyte actually zoomed his way in as S12K tried to bait them through, but memorized awfully low. Shockwave did clip him, I believe, at the end of that play. Center Roots making it very annoying, but that's 12k. Finds the engage onto 2, dies though, but will trade his life away for Ruiz. A very worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, as 12k takes that trade any day of the week, they're going to be able to take this mid turret as a result, knowing that Ruiz, as the primary engage for this team, isn't here. The Dream engage 14k, so it's Gold Card, followed by the Center Roots, followed by Memorized Taunt engage. And they don't have that, not until Ruiz respawns. He's going to have to walk back here as well. This Dragon's very difficult to find.
Memorized, big taunt, finds 4. And Acolyte's going to dump on in there. Center ulti also over the top, but they don't quite have it yet. Chris trying to steal the Dragon. It is Andre that secures it. Chris is going to die in the process, and now Andre looks to try and find the reset, gets another kill as he takes out Z. Very nicely done for Queso.
Huge performance by Andre as he manages to find 2 in the back of the fight. The isolated targets feeding into the Kazakhs' bank account. And this is a teleport down to side lane from Ruiz, which means critically, he's not going to be here. They know this. This is dangerous. I don't think Team Queso can take this Rift out.
Yeah, this feels like an overplay for me, for Queso, just trying to win a little too much, perhaps.
Yeah.
Ruiz going to take the tower instead.
You got the fight. Andre is going to be a real threat for the rest of the game with the amount of gold he just got. Kha'Zix, whenever he finds an isolated target, will destroy him. I want to flag something on the opposite side of this affair, though. Z has been landing some good shockwaves, playing a good Orianna in these team fights, so he's got a decent bank account building up. Key among that, the Archangel staff completion means it's going to be a little bit harder to kill off Z, and he's starting to deliver on real damage. Watch for the rest of this game where the Orianna is in team fights. It's a critical point of focus for Team Queso. They must pick him off before the shockwave goes off, before he's able to add passive power.
Well, even though we watch this one again, Memorized, just
wow,
did that so well.
Memorized is such a good team fighting sport, he always has been, but in moments like that where he's able to find just 4-man engage and set up his team for success, you remember it.
And then this happened. Kha'Zix still Kha'Zix.
Just bouncing around.
Lucky it was only one, I suppose. But Queso, kind of off the back of that, despite maybe overreaching for the Herald, that does go over into the hands of Chris once again. They have done a very good job of chopping this gold lead down to just about 1,500, 2,000 gold ahead. So the snowball has been halted for now.
One problem, though, Team Queso did a very good job kind of mitigating the gold lead that went over. They still don't have any of these turrets. So it's still very difficult for Team Queso to control the map aggressively. They don't have those safe reset points that ThunderTalk do. And until Team Queso can break, in particular, that mid-tier 1, they're always going to be at a disadvantage for these objective fights.
Big sad days for Ruiz as well, and for Kha'Zix, honestly, as well. Love an open map as Twisted Fate. Love to be able to shadow nice and aggressively as Kha'Zix, so don't have those options quite yet. Team Queso are going to have to do a bit more work to open things up.
Watch Ibu's damage, though. It's starting to come online with the Murabana completion. Oh, he's all too far forward.
Yeah, Kha'Zix good at killing people, also good at getting killed. Not particularly durable, as Chris is just heating on in there. Memorized, they find the taunt stun from Feibai. He's going to try and move forward now onto Acolyte. They're going to keep going for it. Center ulti way too late out of Ebu as ThunderTalk find one.
A little bit of a disaster from Team Queso. Andres does manage to get out of the fight with a good flash. But it's too late. Team Queso already memorized for the fight. And now they need to defend against this Rift Herald. They lose another turret in mid. It's going to get a charge off.
Oh, Acolyte saves it. Costs him his life. No, not yet. It actually is going to be a bait. S12K gets picked off.
Very well played. Acolyte yet again stepping up to create opportunities for Team Queso. As he shadow boxes a little bit. Look at just the command attack there from Z, moving the orb. Took maybe a third off of Andre's HP.
Yeah, again, Kha'Zix very strong. 2.5 items there for Andre. Ready to assassinate just about anyone, but Z with the 2 items now done, also feeling pretty strong. I did have a cute one there. A Sinner Shroud was carding Twisted Fate with a gold carding, which I thought was adorable for kind of the submarine gold card action, but unfortunately it didn't work.
You'll see that quite a lot when you can get the Senna out, because characters move so fast in Wildrift in comparison to League of Legends PC, that you'll quite often see Senna just used as a Shroud of Darkness for CC engaged. I like the submarine comparison.
It's a good time, as Ocean Drake has spawned. Always a fun one to fight over. Team's definitely in position to battle, though, as it is Team Queso first to the area.
You're looking at Ruiz's gold card to find a key target here. Ruiz Memorized and Acolyte are the front line, zoning here, using that Twisted Fate ult to gain vision.
Ooh, that reset. Kind of brutal. Chris actually playing for the steal, it looks like. As ThunderTalk not in a rush to get to the objective.
Team Queso know they have a solid team fight. They'd rather take the team fight than the objective fight, because that gets very sketchy. So they back off here, match the wave, kind of daring ThunderTalk to walk in and take the space they once were.
Also not bad to maybe trade off here. Can maybe afford to give a Drake away if you get the mid out of which you've wanted for so long. Andre, though, is gearing up for something spicy. In we go. S12K finds 3 on the engage. And Center is already dead. Very nice there out of the ThunderTalk spawn. A battle in the pit. Once again, won by Chris in his kick as Andre's going to die at the back end of the play. And S12K, the man don't miss. That's 3 out of ThunderTalk.
And S12K combines with Z for maybe the 3rd time this game as he sweeps into the team, lands the charm. They follow it with the Orianna damage, and that's going to be the Dragon. That's going to be the team fight. And now the Baron, all in ThunderTalk's hands, as this game was good for Team Queso and is no longer.
Just so nicely played here by the Ricard. I mean, Andre, there's like a whole other thing happening. Just watch this, Ricard.
And the follow-up. Oh, that's beautiful. And it's so well set up as well because you have both Z and Azor just kind of sitting behind that engage, knowing that they have the exact same zone of AoE damage lined up. You can let it just vanish, man.
That's what happens. Baron vanishes as well. All of a sudden, it's 15 minutes through with ThunderTalk in a commanding position to try and end this game. We're going to have Faye by bottom side, getting those pushing through. Going to have a 4-1 little split here to kick it off, and ThunderTalk, they'll take just about any fight that looks decent here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it is a little scary to go late because Ibu infinitely scales, memorized, very hard scaling champion, so there's no real reason to keep this game going. If you're ThunderTalk, you try and force these, you try and use the Baron advantage whilst you have it.
Yes, he actually tried to fish for the shockwave there. Would have killed Andre most likely, but Andre did leap away. But this is still fine. You can see Chi with the Baron, with the Orianna. You've got the disengage for the lead. They're going to maybe go for it here. Chris getting very spicy. Acolyte diving in, pops the stone plate. In goes Jarvan over the top, and Azul with a wonderful ulti. Gets the flamethrower on the back of it all. 2 dead already on the side of Team Queso, and that's a nice center route, but it's far too late.
I liked the play from Team Queso. It was their best bet, but it does not pay off. And ThunderTalk are going to open up this base and race towards game number 1.
Yep, series is done. Oh, sorry, game is done, TD. Open up the series is what I meant to say. It's definitely not done yet, but this one is in the books as ThunderTalk are going to take a very commanding opener.
All right, Pastry, called it a little early.
I got